One of the reasons that the Trump family is milking the udders of the government like we've never seen before, leveraging the power of the office of the presidency to enrich themselves like has never happened in American history. Really let that set in every time we discuss this. Ever. We've never seen the scale of corruption like we're seeing right now. Is because while yes, they were wealthy before, number one, they weren't this wealthy, and they also aren't the brightest. So they kind of need to use the power of the presidency to enrich themselves through corrupt means, as opposed to just using their intelligence, the sheer magnitude of their intelligence to get wealthier. An example of this, and this is a cringe saga, I'm going to show you the loss of money that Eric Trump has experienced, and I guess that impacts the broader family fortune. They're going to be fine. Obviously, Trump made over $1 billion just in his crypto ventures in the last year. But still, it tells an interesting story. While this news is breaking, Eric Trump is trying to kiss the buttocks of his father by getting the name change of an airport to Donald J. Trump Airport. So here's the headline that caught my attention. Trump's son wipes $600 million from family fortune with disastrous bet. And then it specifies, which I think is funny to imagine, that Eric Trump posted a cringeworthy bid for his dad's approval just hours before this news of the staggering loss broke. So it's sort of like, hey, I'm going to butter you up before you hear about a really bad business decision that I made. And we'll get into what he announced with the Palm Beach International Airport being changed to President Donald J. Trump International Airport. Barf. But here's the bid, the bet, the business choice he made that in an instant, very suddenly lost Eric Trump and the family fortune $600 million. Which they'll get to make up by going to another foreign government and getting them to invest in something, and Trump will give them something that he can only give them because of his presidential power. So they'll be fine. Still embarrassing, though. Eric Trump spearheaded efforts to rename the airport in his father's honor. He also, according to a Bloomberg report published less than 2 hours after his post, played a big role in wiping hundreds of millions of dollars from his family's holdings with a disastrous bet on the crypto industry. The American Bitcoin venture, which the younger Trump helped launch and now steers as chief strategy officer, has cratered since going public last year, the outlet writes, shedding over 95% from its September high. Things got so bad this week that the company had to pull an emergency maneuver, bundling every 15 shares into one just to stay listed on the NASDAQ stock index. The price hit a record low on Wednesday. Bloomberg calculates that crash has wiped more than $600 million of Eric Trump's stake in just the last 10 months. If you're thinking to yourself right now, wow, I like this show, here's what I want you to do. Click the subscribe button, completely free, right below the video. Drop a comment, click the like button. Back to the video. But if you start going, oh no, Luke, what are they going to do? They're going to be poor now. Just remember, Trump made over $2 billion.
I'm really rich.
Just himself over the course of his second presidency, just over a year and a half. And again, this is my point about I'm not a genius about what exactly caused I know Bitcoin's had a lot of issues lately, but what this exact business choice was and why it led to this particular downturn, and then if it could totally turn around for him and whatever. This is not about actually analyzing the nitty-gritty, but saying Trump's history himself, Donald J. Trump, is that of someone who made so many blunders, who had a silver spoon up his booty since...
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Since birth, and still managed to fail so many times on so many businesses. Now, when you're that spoiled and that much money is rained down on you that early, yes, most people, even just from investing it generically, could become a billionaire when handed $200 million, $100 million from their daddy. And also Trump had to be bailed out by NBC and boost his brand with The Apprentice. And then he ran for president, and that bailed him out again. So it's not like what some try to assert. The only way someone can become rich is because they're just so brilliant. Take some level of intelligence. If you have nothing going on upstairs, it's going to be pretty hard. But you don't have to have much. And Trump proves that. Eric Trump proves that. Donald Trump Jr. proves that. And when you have the office of the presidency to support your ventures, you can lose $600 million and go grab that somewhere else. The amount of government contracts, like from the Pentagon, Trump's Pentagon, that Donald Trump Jr. or Eric Trump associated businesses are directly benefiting from, or things the Trump administration is going out getting a mining deal facilitated that the Trump sons have a stake in the business that will be enriched because of it, or using the office to give a country a favor and then that country's investing in your crypto. So they'll be fine. But I'm sure this contributed a little bit to Eric Trump wanting to get on Fox News quickly and make sure his dad loved him before this news broke.
5:01 a.m., the name of the airport changed from Palm Beach International to President Donald J. Trump International Airport. And there's no way in hell I was letting UPS be the first plane to land. So we got on Trump Force One, and Lawrence, you've been on it, and Brian, you've certainly been on it, and Emily, you've probably been on it as well. But we had to be the last plane to take off out of PBI. And then air traffic control comes on, and, welcome to Trump Force One. You're the first plane to ever land, at this airport. And so we touched down at exactly 5:01 a.m. this morning, and it was a beautiful day. I don't think there's anybody more synonymous with Palm Beach than Donald Trump, and maybe all of Florida. And, it's his home. He absolutely loves the state, won the state by a major margin. And this is a plane that carried him to victory. A lot of people will argue 3 times, but certainly 2. It was the backdrop of so many of the presidential campaign stops, did so many stops with us as a family. So it was an incredibly special moment for us this morning.
Well, oh my gosh. Weirdly, I just had pop in my head when I was watching this a reminder of that moment where Eric Trump's talking about how great, crypto is, and he was like, whenever you're trying to send like $5 million and you're on the couch with a glass of wine and like it doesn't work through traditional banking, but you can do it through crypto. Like, haven't we all dealt with that when your bank's like, sorry, we got to wait till business hours to send your $5 million somewhere while you're sitting on the couch with a glass of wine? Similar vibe where people are hurting and Trump is like, shut up about affordability. And the Trumps think it's a good look for them to be going on national news and saying, we achieved something great. We got Palm Beach International Airport changed to President Donald J. Trump International Airport. Aren't you happy? Doesn't that feel like the golden age? And then he's posting this video thinking anyone of note would have a good time watching this.
Attention all aircraft, effective immediately. Palm Beach International Airport is officially President Donald J. Trump International Airport. President Donald J. Trump International Airport. ATIS Information Hotel, now current. Trump altimeter 3009.
There we go. It's official.
Always have an Alpha Foxtrot. Understand me, President Donald.
So that's where their focus is. Okay, that's where their focus is. If you think for a second that the excuse Trump has been giving, and I'll remind you of it, that my son's, there's no corruption. If you think for a second that this presidency hasn't become all about serving Trump and his family, then you're not paying attention. This was the best if you forgot Trump could conjure up in defense of his family's business dealings.
If the Democrats take the House, and I want you to succeed as president. I want a businessman to run the country. And all along, you entered as a billionaire businessman, which was unprecedented. I think George Washington owned a lot of land, but no one's ever. I think JFK had a trust fund, but no one's ever been as wealthy as you. And you obviously know how to run a business, and that, I think, informs the way you run the country, obviously. Now, many people...
Did anyone ever stop to consider, as they were spitting out that most irritating talking point, did anyone stop to consider that maybe he would run the country like a business? Did anyone really stop to consider that what you're asking for, him running the country like one of his businesses, would actually mean that he would run the country like one of his businesses?
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll...
Like, you always repeated that, and it sounded sexy. Oh, run it like a... Do you know what someone who's running a business often is doing? Figuring out how to enrich themselves. That's fine when you're in a private business and you're doing it to make money. So, think. You kept telling me, family members, some of them, with love, I love you so much, that I just need the country to be run like a business. No, but he's going to run it like one of his businesses, which means he's going to run the country like its chief duty is to enrich him. Did you ever consider that actually was inherent to your own talking point?
People argue business experience is needed in government, and we've seen the stock market in the first term and the second term. I think it's been rewarded to have a businessman in there. So I think we shouldn't be surprised that your businesses are doing well. But how would you counter critics that say you're using the presidency to enrich yourself and your family?
Well, in a lot of ways, if you think about it, the stock has gone up so much. The stock market today, it's up 500 points. It's up to almost 53,000. You know, I watched your show, and you had somebody on, one of your brilliant analysts, and they said if I had won the election, they said if President Trump could get the stock market to anywhere near 50,000, that would be an unbelievable achievement.
Well, that's an absolutely ridiculous analyst then, because it obviously would have done what it's done and surpassed the results of what we've seen if a Democrat had continued, just by comparing the gains at the end of Biden's administration to the beginning of Trump's. Oh, okay, whatever. He talks about the stock market. Nobody is saying it's wrong. I don't know why I almost started singing there. Nobody's saying it's wrong that you have money. No, we're not. No, we're not. What we're saying is that you're using the office to make more money. Go show me in your past business ventures when you were making money at the scale you're currently making money. Go show me. I'd like to see that. I'd really like to see when your net worth jumped up this rapidly. Any other time when you weren't president. Show me. And again, if that were just like whoopsie daisy, I had a bunch of money in real estate and real estate shot up. Whoa. That'd be different. It's that he's using things that he can trade on that only are in his hands because of the presidency to get that enrichment. That's the problem, of course. You know that. But Joe Kernan there was... refusing to admit it. Joe Kernan, you're so aggravating to me. You know, it's like I want to put a business, but it's like people saying you're releasing AI chip restrictions to get money. It's like I don't even. What the hell? Do you really, Joe Kernan? Did you ever talk about Hunter Biden? If you did, and you didn't ask questions about him like that much of a bitch, then you're not honest. And I think you did.